Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Alaracanfield Show, the Awaken to Happiness Now global series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And my good friend Omaji Andaria is back with us today. And we are going to be talking about managing your energetic fields to optimize to 5D and beyond with Omaji Andaria and the Council of Light. So some of what we're going to be receiving downloads today and light activations during our time together, during our conversation, to support you, right, as you choose it into an elevation of your multidimensional capacities for living as your infinite self in this realm. And we're going to be taking live caller questions as well. So for those of you who don't know, you can raise your hand or you can type your question in the chat. And for those of you who don't know Omaji, she's been with us, oh my goodness, many, many times. We love having her here. It's always such a high vibe call. Lots of processes, lots of downloads and activations. And she serves as a catalyst for expansion, pioneering the birth of new ways of being into this realm. And she lovingly serves to remind you of what you really are beyond the limitations that you are currently perceiving, so that you can remember and embody your oneness with source, your infinite sovereign self, and your capacity to choose from infinite possibility. And in collaboration with the Council of Light, your higher self and guides, Omaji holds a safe and sacred space for lifetimes of distortions to lift and transform, including old programs and patterns that are no longer serving you, reinterpreting misperceptions of self and others, gently releasing emotional and energetic trauma, and restoring truth on a conscious and unconscious level. And she facilitates transmissions of light activations and vibrational alignment to harmonize, uplift, and restore you to your natural state. So you can read more about Omaji on the live page and of course in the email, but let's get started because we always have such a wonderful and full session when Omaji is here. So Omaji, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Alara. I'm grateful to be here with all of you and just sharing gratitude for those who are participating in the collaboration, because it truly is that.
Absolutely. So I want to get started by just really quickly talking about, how can we manage our energetic fields, especially right now, to optimize to 5D and beyond? Because let's face it, a lot of us are being pulled into drama, pulled into fears, etc. And so, which then tends to lower our vibration, right? And we're not able to maintain it or manage it as much as we would like.
Correct. Yeah, it's twofold. This is our practice in doing that, because if we didn't have a catalyst to prompt us into, maybe I should work these muscles a little more, we probably wouldn't work the muscles a little more, at least as in a dedicated way as what we're being invited to do at this time, because we're on this precipice, as many of you know, transitioning into fifth dimensional Gaia as a reality. And how do we do that? We attune to fifth dimensional Gaia. And so it's a practice, and it's a daily practice. So what we wanted to bring forward today was, and I say we because the Council of Light here is fully present in collaboration with your higher self. So it's a collective, it's a we, that includes your higher selves. So none of this work is you getting anything done to you. This is your higher self functioning on your behalf as part of this collaboration, bringing in what will support you in your own unique way as a vibrational kind of information and support. It's like, oh, I remember that. Let me grab that nugget for me. Let me activate that for myself. So in the midst of this conversation, these nuggets are laid on the table, these energetic bundles for you to pick up if it resonates. And it's all through your free will conscious choice. So we want to make sure for those who are new to our work that you understand this is nothing being done for you or to you, because part of the fifth dimensional ways of being and that framework of oneness is that each being is a sovereign being with their own free will conscious choice. And we're not attached to what you choose or don't choose. We simply lay on the table the choices that are available, and then you choose. Am I still wanting to learn and struggle? Or have I already gathered all my lessons from that? And am I ready to graduate into the grace and ease? As an example.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, I'm so glad you mentioned that as well. It is about our choice and our choice in each moment and in choosing how we want to experience the moment, right? And so, we all have those moments when we freak out. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about generally, the overarching vibration that you have, right? So generally, what
And
are you choosing?
perception, our
Yeah.
perception of what's happening, who we are in the midst of it. Are we a victim, or are we an empowered being of light that has choice in this moment to step out of the victim consciousness? So perception is huge, and we underestimate it.
Absolutely. And there's no judgment if you are operating from victimhood. Like I said, we do have it from time to time, moment to moment sometimes, right? But the thing is, are you choosing to be empowered? Are you making empowering choices for yourself? Are you recognizing even that you have choices available to you?
That's the button there. Are you remembering that you have choice?
Mhm.
Yes. And you may want to write down somewhere in a sticky note, I have choice. Because we have to remember, we have to wake up to that again. We've been so conditioned to believe that it's the other way around, that this is happening to us, that we forget it's actually happening for us to awaken us to our power, to our choice again. And so I have choice would be a great thing to surround yourself with, that reminder.
And what you just said right now is like, things are not happening to us, they're happening for us. And they're happening for us so that we will remember who we truly are. Remember that we do have choice. And also recognize, all right, so I got here because of the choices I made. Right.
That, from an empowering perspective, we would encourage that. There's a way we can look at that where we take on shame and guilt, and we wouldn't recommend that, although there's learning there. But what we would recommend is that we recognize that there's been a bit of a broken record running, perhaps for many of you, with a pattern or situations or how life is showing up. The reflection, the feedback is showing us, okay, this has been running in my energetic fields for some time on an unconscious level. At some point, maybe 10 lifetimes ago, I chose to agree with this mechanism, this way of being, this energetic structure. And that's where you step into your power. And you say, now I choose whatever you choose. And you collaborate with your higher self, because your higher self knows how to unplug you and rewire you from those old paradigms. And you say, I don't choose this anymore. I choose my freedom. I choose my empowerment. I choose who I am instead, is enough. But it's the request. It's like, that's our choice. We have, our higher self is waiting for us to choose. And so that's the important kind of step. It's like the angels are singing. As soon as we have that awareness again, that we can use this to liberate ourselves, this outer reflection, we can actually use it to liberate ourselves from the old paradigms.
And so I want you to take a moment and share with us a little bit more about freedom and liberation, what that means, and freedom from what to what, and liberation from what and to what. Because I think people need to get clear on what freedom really means. Because, we've always heard, that we're sovereign beings, we are, freedom 55. Everybody talks about financial freedom, all those wonderful buzzwords, right? But what does freedom really mean?
So whenever you ask a question, I'm just going to explain a little bit what happens from my end so that it may help awarenesses come in and why we can answer this question so many different ways. We are multidimensional beings. And so there are different levels of consciousness that we could answer that question from. And so what I do is I lean in and I ask, show me which one you want to speak from. Because we create the energetic bridge for you to bridge out of whatever your current relationship with freedom, in this case, is, to a higher octave in relationship to freedom, which is almost like you stepping more into who you really are in relationship to freedom. So let that come in as you're willing, as an energetic download, because sometimes our words can sound, when they're coming through to a mind that this is new to, can sound like a foreign language. It's like, what did she just say? I can't even hear her. And that's okay. A part of you knows what we're saying. That's who I'm speaking to. And I'm inviting that part of you to activate and step forward. So if this is kind of confusing to the mind, there's the replay for you to go back and re-listen. And many tell me that when they re-listen, they get it. They hear it the second time. But the first time it's like, ooh, I can feel the resonance of this, but my mind can't figure out what she's even saying. And that's okay. That's normal as we're elevating, shifting consciousness out of kind of old ways of being. It's like, this is our world in relationship to freedom. And I'm talking a little bit outside of that familiar relationship with freedom, where freedom has maybe seemed a little bit elusive to you in the past, where it felt like a fairy tale maybe, or something you weren't allowed to have in all areas of your life. It's like separation based, because that's what we're bridging out of. We're bridging out of our separation based experiences and consciousness with freedom. In this case, it's really everything, into a oneness based relationship with the quality, in this case, the divine quality of freedom. And so what if freedom is an aspect of your essence that is inherent to you, that flows in your divine column of light that emanates from infinite source, just like a ray of light emanates from the sun? Freedom is a quality that was woven into your fabric at the point of creation. So we're going to invite you, as you're willing, to remember this, because the more we can let go of what we think freedom is, it's like what we've in the past experienced freedom as or not as. That's the duality. That's the separation-based kind of relationship with freedom that we're being invited in this moment to retire. So if you're willing, you can just invite your higher self to begin bringing in this remembering for you in your own unique way of what freedom really is, and that it's part of your essence. In other words, you're never separate from it. It's not some out here, airy fairy in the future, if I do everything right, I can get thing. Now, consciousness may be wired to function that way with it, but that's what we're going to do here in a moment, is begin to rewire where we're referencing freedom, how we're moving in our daily life in relationship to freedom, so that we never function as though we're separate from it anymore. And again, this is a process. So this is the first step. It's like you may even wish to ponder, what if in the past have I thought freedom even was? And what if that's actually limiting my relationship with actual freedom, the actual freedom that exists as the me who knows herself, himself, as one with an infinite source that has an infinite supply of freedom 24/7, never lacks it. Like, that's not even a concept from that kind of pure oneness experience. There's no separation from it. That's impossible. I am freedom itself. It's that place. So we're going to invite you into this very gently, as you're willing, to begin to release all the stories, the attachments to the stories of not free, the attachments to the struggle with freedom. And as you do that, and I'm watching this happen, as you're choosing it, as you do that, a part of this is, so in that kind of maybe struggle with freedom or distorted relationship with freedom, separation-based relationship with freedom, we were learning. We did a lot of learning there. And one of the things we were cultivating was the desire to have actual freedom, not a substitute for it that is like never enough, because it's sometimes there, sometimes not in separation, right? It can leave us in separation consciousness in that 3D experience. It's elusive, perhaps, but there was learning there. So we want to keep the learning. So we're going to invite you at the level of your higher self, body David's higher self in teams, to work with the energetic fields and the guides. And again, your higher self is going to do this work. to energetically reference all the learning you were doing in those old separation-based past experiences with free, not free, the duality with freedom, the separation-based relationship with freedom in all lifetimes, and to activate the vibrations of those spiritual lessons now in the appropriate dimensions, in the appropriate order, in the appropriate timing. Everyone's going to do this in their own unique way. Again, just ask your higher self, yes, please, I choose this, and let your higher self knows what to do. Begin to do this for you, because once we've activated the vibration of the spiritual lessons, that's kind of a key, a step, if you will, to retiring that way of being with freedom. We've kind of gotten all the juice out of the learning in that, on that playground, we'll say, in that classroom. I've gotten everything out of this. And the other step that we would add is, are you willing to forgive and release yourself and everyone else for everything that went on in that duality-based relationship with freedom? Because it was for learning. That's what it was actually for, from the highest perspective. Nobody was actually ever right or wrong. It was a learning and a catalyst for you to get to this place where you're now ready to graduate from the separation consciousness into the unity consciousness. It was for your evolution. It was for your growth. And in that perspective, every soul involved signed up for their role in order to act it out, to play it out. Everyone actually learned from that and got ready as a humanity eventually to graduate into fifth dimensional unity consciousness, which is incredible. So are you willing to forgive and release everyone involved in all of those tussles, those dances with the free, not free versions, the tyrant victim versions of kind of how we experienced freedom, in order to have the truth of you as already free? And deep breath in. And it's just a willingness to forgive. So it's like, yes, I'm willing. I'm willing to forgive it. Higher self, will you do it for me? We're talking about all lifetimes here. Lifetimes where we were maybe the slaves or the slave owners, lifetimes where we were either the king or the queen or the minion, right? Underneath at the bottom of the pyramid. Whatever it was, stepping into this knowing of us as divine beings of light, that we've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt pretty much in every single role. And it was all to get here. It was all to get to this place of where we're ready to graduate. And I'm willing to forgive everyone involved, including myself, for all the right, wrong, good, bad judgments. I'm willing to release all of that in order to have now the activation of those lessons, the graduation from those lessons, and to have my true, sovereign, beautiful, it's like original relationship with freedom that I'm meant to have, which is I am already free. And that was actually always true. But because we were believing the separation-based experiences, we gave power to them. We kept giving power to them. And now it's time to claim our power back and to stand in who we really are in truth, if we choose. We'll all eventually get there. But this is a bit of an accelerated process that we do in these sessions to help you realize what your choice really is in front of you, which is in this moment where you choose to have who you are as already free and release the attachment to all the what was in order to have what you are in truth. And we can support you in that as you choose it. Deep breath in. And now there's an attunement. It's like if you could imagine there's a part of you as a multidimensional being that already exists in another dimension, that is in this experience of oneness, that knows who it is as already free. We're inviting you to connect to that aspect of you through your intention and to allow it to attune you to the truth that you are already free. You are already one with Source. It already is. And so is all life. So that's where the forgiveness piece comes in, because they've forgotten too. And they know not what they do. So will you forgive them, for they know not what they do? And deep breath in. Good. Oh, I can feel it. It's so yummy when it happens. The expansion, I can feel it. You're doing it. Keep breathing, even if you don't feel it yet. It's okay. Some of you will integrate this in dream time, maybe over the next few days. And that's okay. Everyone brings it in their own unique way. And we're inviting you to also be willing to let go of anything that's not allowing that for you to happen with grace and ease. Any old energies, grids, unforgiveness that you're holding that isn't even yours, that's perhaps ancestral or at the level of the DNA for humanity. Will you hand that over, return to sender with love and consciousness and appropriate energetic information now? Just from this idea that we do a lot of these teachings in what we share now, and it's all about only holding responsibility for your own issues, shifting your own issues, because we can't actually shift another's issues. And that idea that we even could is an old codependent separation-based paradigm of healing that is also retiring. So it's also a time for many of us, especially if you're very empathic, everyone really, if you're empathic, you're just aware of what you're holding that isn't yours. Keep returning all those grids, all those bundles that aren't even yours. Their moms, their dads, their ancestral. We thought we could shift it for them. We can't because it's not calibrated for us. Everyone has their own bundles to shift. Because that's how we grow and evolve ourselves. We shift our own bundles. It's our energetic weights to lift. So just inviting you and your body, Deva, at the level of your higher selves to return, and teams, any bundles you're trying to process that aren't yours, involving this relationship with freedom or anything else. And anywhere you're wanting for another to be free, and this is where it gets kind of like mind-blowing. When we want for another, we actually take energetic responsibility for them. And then we try to process their discordant bundles around the issue. So in the case of freedom, if we want for another's freedom, we're energetically saying, I choose freedom for you, which is trying to choose for another, which takes us out of the sovereignty, out of the oneness, because now we're kind of trying to be source for another, say we know what's best for them, even though it appears virtuous to want someone to be free. They might be doing their own learning in the not free right now that is cultivating certain things, activating certain things within them. So eventually they're ready to choose the freedom. So this energetic stance of what the ascended masters do, which is kind of just holding space for them to choose it when they're ready, only wanting for our own freedom, modeling how to have the freedom from a level of 5D and beyond so that they can see how to do it for themselves, but not forcing them, not choosing for them. Because when we want for another, we energetically take responsibility for them. We take their bundles, and then we have their bundles running in our energetic fields trying to shift for them. We're empathically feeling their thoughts of I'm not free, I don't have, and the victim. So we're doing a bit of a shortcut here. We'd normally spend probably an hour explaining that, but we get that many of you get this. So we're going to invite you into the willingness to choose, to return those bundles now, to return that responsibility back to them, retrieve your energetic fabric of wanting off of them, because that's your creative force that you're kind of trying to use on someone else, your will. So inviting you at the level of your higher self, body, Deva's higher self and teams, to work with the energetic fields and the guides, to return, energetically locate and return any bundles you're holding or trying to process for anyone else, including ancestors. Remain in the past have wanted them to be free. Groups of people, countries. Some of you maybe are feeling a bit fatigued and like you don't have energy, and maybe you get headaches a lot. It's probably because you're trying to process these bundles that aren't yours. You're not calibrated to process anyone else's bundles but your own. It's a divine design. It's like energetically coded for you or not. So inviting you at the level of your higher self to return these bundles, return the responsibility back to them at the level of their higher self, where they have the capacity to receive it, along with all relevant and appropriate energetic information that you have, you body teams. Any grids you're trying to shift for them. That's their grids, their ways of being. Give them back. I'm already feeling like lightening the load are the best words I have. And then retrieving any attachment, any gifts, wisdom, mastery, wanting you placed on them, desire, will, cleaning it, recalibrating it, and reweaving it, re-embedding it in your own energetic fields. Gently and gracefully reweaving it in the higher dimensions first. Higher self is doing the work. Body Davis, higher self is doing the work. Teams too. But it applies. Good. And then inviting a balancing and stabilizing of all systems, components, and levels of your being for a higher vibration. Because as soon as we let go of what isn't calibrated for us, we automatically go up about 10 or 20 octaves in vibration. Kind of tanks us to be holding in our energetic fields things that don't belong to us. Again, because it's calibrated differently, just like a snowflake is unique. Your energetic signature is on what's yours. It's calibrated for you. It's your own unique resonance. So when something's in your fields that isn't of your unique resonance, it affects your vibration in a not optimal way. We'll say it that way. So balancing, stabilizing, updating all grids, all reference points, all ways in which you perceive and are perceived. And then we'll do a little bit of a shakeout reboot, kind of like you would do for a computer, just to get you synced up with the new, who you are without that, how you function beyond it. And sometimes we'll run the codependent, taking responsibility for others, wanting for others. One, because we think it's virtuous. And then once we realize, oh, it actually isn't helpful to take their bundles because then they don't have them to work for themselves. It's like they don't have their energetic weights to lift and they just have to go get more. So it takes them longer. It's not actually helpful to do that. So that's the first step, is to realizing it's not helpful. And then the second step is sometimes we can be doing it because an old program is running where we think that's how we're going to gain favor with the tribe or favor with God, or that's the source of our worth in some way, shape, or form. So you might want to look at that piece if that resonates for you, where you kind of reorient yourself, where your worth is actually within your column of light, within what you are innately, and not in an external doing or not doing. So we're going to let this integrate, because that was a lot for many of you. If you're new to this work, it's kind of like your first time in the gym. And so you may feel like you just want to go to sleep. That's okay. That's a sign that your energetic fields are really working to do the protocols that we're bringing forward. Good.
Wow, that was intense. Like I said, I was yawning like crazy, as you can see, and I wrote in the chat, oh my God, here we go. Right. So it's like, you know, when I'm yawning like crazy, it means the energy is moving, the energy is shifting, not just for myself, but for everybody here on the call and who's going to watch or listen later. So there's a lot of shifting happening. And I'm also feeling like a lot of activity in the throat area and the ears. You know, it's like I'm not even hearing properly. Like I feel like I'm in underwater, you know, kind of thing. So my voice might sound weird because it sounds weird to me in the moment. So there's a lot of,
you're still shifting and integrating. And the throat center they're showing me is related to not only, but in this case, a lot of the throat movement is around will, like the idea of choice and free will. And if we've taken our will, right, and tried to place it externally on others, for others, it's like, okay, I'm bringing that will back to me, reweaving it for me. And now I feel like I have my power of choice again. It's interesting because what we do when we kind of take this energy and place it out here, that's separation consciousness 101, is we've decided we're the source for someone else and not source, right? So we take our energy and try to give it to them or place it on them. And in that exchange, it weighs them down because now they have something on or in their energetic fields that is not calibrated for them. And we start to empathically feel and try to process all their issues around whatever it is we wanted. So it's like if we wanted for them to be free, now we're trying to process their bundles, their karma, their crazy separation consciousness learning around that. And we can't really process it for them. We can only do what's meant for us. So when we bring it back, when we do this type of work, which is what is the main juice, the main guts of what our energetic sessions are now, you're literally bringing your energy back to you, bringing your power back to your creative force back to you. So the side effect is you feel more in your own power of choice, more like motivated and driven to choose for you in an honoring way, to choose in favor of your own freedom, and empowered. And like you have more life force again. Mm-hmm. So if you're someone who's kind of had this waning going on where you're like, I'm just so tired, and these are the pieces, and it's in, again, all of our series and things that we offer, we do different aspects of this, of retrieving and returning, because that's the step we're on, for us to get in our own lane, our own beam of light, only wanting and attached for our own journey in that sovereignty, that true sovereignty, so that we're not running the codependent lines of energy and patterns anymore. And we bring all of our energy back to us so we can model the solution to humanity. This is oneness. Be your beam of light and access at source level, and everyone gets to have. Lack doesn't exist there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Good.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Rebecca said that I really felt that I cried. But are you good to talk now? Rebecca had raised her hand. Go ahead.
Yeah. Wow. That whole thing, as soon as you said something about freedom is a natural part of who you were originally. Because I've spent so much of my life working my way out of believing I'm a victim and living from that. So that was just really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
And is it okay to ask my question now, Alara? Okay, so I have a very strong desire to quit drinking. And it's, well, there you go. There's an example of the victim thing, right? Because I feel like it has control over me as opposed to the other way around. And I do believe this is a very strong ancestral thing on both sides.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they're showing me, so when someone asks a question, it's like I connect to this matrix of possibilities and they show me different layers. So I'm asking them to show me, okay, which layer do you want to start with? Because everything has layers to it. It came in layers, so it leaves in layers. And thank you, they're saying, for your courage and stepping forward. So the first piece I want to start with has to do with an awareness that many of you may still be in the process of remembering, which is there's you as a soul, as a beam of light emanating from the heart of source. Very beautiful, pristine, miraculous, powerful. And then there is the body deva, which is a nature spirit of earth. And its energetic fields helps to project as the physical form that we write in. And so when we speak to body deva, it's because body deva as a nature spirit, think of like even like a gnome or a fairy or like a plant type creature, that's it's in its own right, its own beautiful expression of source. So the nature spirits of earth emanate from the heart of Gaia. And we partner with a nature spirit to incarnate here. It's like our ticket in, it's our ride. So I'm being shown, and this is where we can, if we've been trying to shift things for some time and we haven't seemed to be able to shift it, it can be that it's actually not our issue, it's body deva. So take a deep breath into that awareness and maybe even ask the question, what if this issue, like I've already worked my pieces, if there was forgiveness work, if there was self-love that I was being invited to activate more of, I've already kind of worked those pieces. What if what's left is actually body deva? Because I wasn't aware of the body deva before, and I maybe haven't been supporting and encouraging the body deva to release and awaken itself. Not that it's our job to awaken the body deva. We want to make sure we understand that the body deva is its own sovereign being, but we're partnering with it. And we're with it 24/7. So we can be more of a guide, a teacher, encourager for the body deva. So is it okay if I connect with your body deva around this? And does any of this resonate for you?
Yes, and yes.
Okay. Okay, so the first thing the body deva is showing me around this issue is a layer of shame. And if there's emotion that comes up, please allow it. The body deva will use emotions to change its cellular chemistry and to move into a higher vibration. It's energy for its, like, it rides the waves of energy. And body deva, what if a lot of that shame isn't even yours, honey? Yeah. So can we help you return it, body deva, back to its right and perfect place along with relevant and appropriate energetic information? Good. Yeah, because you can't shift what's yours. I know you've been trying really hard to shift all of that. It wasn't even yours. I know. So we're just bringing in the energetic downloads to help the body deva recognize what's really going on with that. Thank you for your courage. They're saying again, deep breath in. It's like showing up in your authenticity. Takes a lot of courage. You've cultivated that courage over lifetimes. Same for your body deva. Your body deva has a very strong current of courage that it's cultivated for itself, which is why you were paired together. There's a complementary relationship there for sure. The courage, the tenacity. It's like the willingness to keep going, even though we seem to have tried everything. We're still going to look because I know there's a way. There's like that. I know there's a way. And
Yep.
that's empowerment, not victim, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Claim that because it's there and the body deva has it too. So what I sense is that, and what they're showing me is a lot of the victim stuff that you may still be struggling with is not even yours. It's inherited, or it's stuff we took because we wanted for someone else to not be an alcoholic or to not be whatever, to not be disempowered. Does that resonate, that you may have wanted for others to be in their power?
Yeah. Especially my dad.
Yeah.
He was my abuser, but he was also sort of a pathetic figure. You know, like he had so much love and potential. And I think because he was a pedophile, he just carried all this shame, and he would sabotage his own success.
Yeah, and body deva is saying, oh, I thought if I took his shame, he wouldn't do it anymore. So keep giving that back, body deva, because it's not the way. Again, it's that this is like, it's survival consciousness, but it's also at the empowerment end of survival consciousness, not the victim. It's like, let me figure out a way to make him stop. So the body Deva's like, well, if I take his shame, maybe he'll stop.
God, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Like I feel it.
Yeah.
Like not here, but
yeah, I can sense it in the heart and the solar plexus and even lower chakras. So we're just going to keep watching for a moment here. Body Deva, keep giving all of that back because you've had it for a while. It kind of feels familiar to you, but it isn't yours. So just invite your higher self, Body Deva, to work with the energetic fields and the guides to locate what isn't your energetic signature, not of your essence, to return it back to him, any fragments that are his, bundles that are his. Return it back to him along with all relevant, appropriate energetic information. Where is the past to receive it? And any other lifetimes where you danced with this soul, and maybe exchange some energy, some fragments, inviting that to be sorted out in the higher dimensions in the appropriate end of life reviews for the body devas and for you as a soul. And are you willing to forgive and release everyone involved?
yes.
Deep breath in. There's some healing in the heart happening now.
I feel his relief that he's getting this stuff back that was really his to deal with.
Yeah, because just as when we shift our own issues, we get stronger, we activate into a higher consciousness. They need their bundles to do that for themselves. Mm-hmm.
The funny thing is, when you were talking about that codependent thing, I thought, oh, well, I don't have that problem.
Well, and I love that you're open to exploring and saying, oh, because it's for many of us, it's unconscious. Like we don't realize we did it. We don't realize the body devas were doing it. And so we can begin to build a collaborative, co-creative relationship, healthy co-creative relationship with the body deva, where we say, okay, we're in this together. Why don't we both liberate ourselves from all of these energies that never belonged to us? Because we've done it for lifetimes. We thought it was helpful. And now we're at a place in our evolution where we're like, oh, wait, that was never helpful. I'm so glad I know that now. So that's the empowered perspective we would invite you into. So now we know what to work. Now we know what to clean up. It's the step we're on, is to begin using these tools to clean our energetic fields of everything that's not of our essence. And that's true freedom.
I feel so different.
Yeah, you are different.
I had this bad headache, and now it's weird. It's just like all that energy just like went out the back of my head.
Yeah.
And it feels good now.
Good.
Good. Awesome, Rebecca.
Thank you so much.
We'll just wrap it up with inviting a balancing, stabilizing, updating all your grids, your reference points, all ways in which you perceive and are perceived. Shake out, reboot. Nice work.
Good job. Thank you.
And my third eye was aching for a little while too. Like I was like, what is she doing to my third eye?
Yeah, and you were doing it to you. We'll just remind you.
Yeah.
You were doing it for you. Yes.
This is incredible. Thank you all so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Rebecca.
I felt the collective on that too.
My third eye was also really active. So instead of saying aching, I'm going to say it was just really active.
And they're saying,
I like that.
And the guides are saying recalibrating.
Recalibrating
for a higher perception. Yeah, for a higher perception. Yes.
I love it. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Awesome. All right. So I have a question from Angela. And Angela is saying, I would love to understand, clear, and separate the dreams and vision of my parents' plans and my own understanding of how I fit into managing their business.
Okay.
Can you talk, Angela, or no?
Well, what I can say, and she's welcome to join us. What I'm being shown is within the question, there's an assumption that she somehow, if she can figure out what another's choosing, then she'll know what to choose
Mhm.
for herself. And so that's really the piece they'd like to look at, is how we've been wired to kind of give our power to others to decide for us without even know it's like we don't even know that's what we're doing. It's like, well, when they figure out what they want, or when I figure out what they want, then I'll know what I can choose for me, or where I fit in. Or what we would encourage you into is the willingness to kind of let go of current perception of how you think you're going to get what you desire, which is to have a life that works for you, that resonates for you, where you're thriving on a daily basis, where you're getting to do what you love on a daily basis. And on some level, that's what we're all kind of reaching for to some degree. They're saying, we invite you into the willingness to let go of the need to understand or know what another's perceiving or wanting. So are you willing to move into that kind of openness where I'm willing to let go of what it's like the need to know what others are perceiving or wanting? And this is where it gets like radical, because we think that if we can make our life work with others' desires and wants and needs, that's somehow the collaboration. And we would say, no, it's separation-based interpretation of that. In the divine design, we want you to imagine for a moment birds in flight and how they know when to bob and to weave together in unison in this beautiful unity consciousness fabric. And we would invite you and your body, David, into the remembering of this unity consciousness fabric. Are you willing to remember what it feels like, how it flows? And that there's a level of discernment there, an energetic pulse of communication in connection from oneness. But it's never trying to conform or compromise your own innate desires for another. It's like, it's not dumbing it down. In other words, your innate desires within you, the innate desires, not the ego desires, but the innate desires from source, is pulsed from the energy of oneness, from the truth of oneness. And it is for the highest good of all. It is in that fabric, that law, if you will, that if you allow yourself to be pulsed by the energetic desires that come from that purity, that oneness, that connection with source, it will be for the highest good of all. You don't have to concern yourself with what does or doesn't support another, because source is informing you, this is what will honor you, and therefore it is what will honor all life. That is the law in truth. It takes us a while to get there. So we're bringing this in as a signpost for where we're going. And in the meantime, we would invite you into the willingness to kind of empty yourself of all the desires that you have that are a bit codependent and distorted, because they try to take into account other people's desires and opinions and perceptions. That's where things get distorted, because we're meant to be pulsed only based on our own energetic signature and what honors this aspect of life that is us. We are the sovereign being in charge of this aspect of life that is us, this aspect of the divine that we are. And as we hold only energetic responsibility for honoring this aspect of life that is us, doesn't mean we won't honor others, but it'll come from a very different place. We won't be responsible for honoring them. We simply come from that energy of honoring that is part of our energetic fabric of oneness. It's innate, it's instinctual, it's of the divine, it's of God, it's of source. There's no distortion there. We're bringing that in now. It's like a line of energy, allowing you to bring that in your own unique way And if you think of it as a way of being a grid system that you can literally invite your higher self to plug you into, that's pretty close to what it is. It's an energetic grid, a matrix of oneness that you can literally invite your higher self to plug into, to unplug from the grids of separation, the perceptions of separation, to upgrade your perception mechanisms to function from the oneness instead of the separation, where we think we're responsible for others having what they need. It's never our job. Source is responsible for that. So you give responsibility back to source for meeting the needs of others, including their happiness, their joy, their sustainability, their support, everything. But you let source be that and fire yourself from being source. And as you inviting you at the level of your higher self, body's higher self, to reweave your energetic grids, your energetic fields into the oneness fabric, using that oneness fabric to inform you, to pulse you, to guide you, to direct you, to literally, it's like that's where we're informed from. So our perception is very different. And this can be a process as well, retiring the dependence on the separation-based system, because maybe we thought that's how we were going to get approval or love or support, is by being the source for others and them looking up to us or thanking us or appreciating us or valuing us. That's not really where we can source those things in a pure way. That's all separation distortion. It kind of works, sort of, but it's distorted. And then we start to take on other people's bundles that aren't ours and all this stuff. This crazy happens in separation. We basically agree to experiencing ourselves as separate from source within that framework. And it's a choice. Or we can begin to function from the fabric of oneness. We can begin to become aware of our conscious choice to ask, to make the request for our higher self to rewire our consciousness into the oneness-based ways of being, the sovereignty, source being source for all life. I'm not going to take that responsibility for another being because that's not my job. That's source's job. That's out of integrity with the divine design. And as soon as I move out of integrity with the divine design, I kind of choose the separation-based grid and I plug into it. So we say this in different ways to help different aspects of your consciousness kind of get this teaching and become more aware of what we're actually choosing on a daily basis. So we would invite Angela to re-ask your question in a moment once this integrates a bit. It's like, what do you actually really desire? Is it peace? Is it freedom? Is it joy? Empowerment, clarity? And deep breath in. And the body devas know how to kind of function from the oneness of nature because they're part of the nature fabric in their natural state. So we're going to also bring in some energetic information here and the guides, the enlightened nature spirits. And good. Okay, Angela, thank you.
Laughter and joy, deep-seated excitement for life.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll let that work here while I finish with the body devas. Inviting the body devas at the level of their higher selves to connect to an appropriate dimension where you already are in your expression as one with nature, to remember that oneness with nature, with the nature fabric of Earth. Body devas emanate from the heart of Gaia, so they're the ones that love being in nature and part of the nature fabric, and we can be positively empathically impacted by that. And we can also enjoy the beauty of nature and the qualities of nature. We can also allow nature to remind us of our connection to oneness. There we go. I just felt the shift for the body devas. So body devas in their own unique way will go to a different dimension and maybe take on an animal form or even water itself or a tree or a rock. And it'll be like, oh yeah, now I remember what the oneness feels like as the rock or as the wind or as the ocean. So body devas will do this usually in the nature kind of language of their own. And that's how I watch these body devas remembering the eagle. When I was the eagle, oh, I was oneness. Oh, yeah. And then they can reflect that, remember it here in this current form. And it helps rewire the consciousness for them into relaxing more into the oneness. So let's look at the joy and the zest for life. And this is also a way, this is how we kind of will dig to find out, okay, what are we really after here? So if any of you have this kind of thing in your life that you're like, well, when this changes, I'll have the peace, or I'll have the love, or I'll have the freedom or the joy. It's really the joy you're after. It's not this being different. So when you can identify what it is you're really after, in this case, joy, we'll start with that. Then you can begin to invite your higher self, Body Deva's higher self, to reference the joy that is innate to you within your beam of light. Body Deva has its own beam of light. So, because there's an infinite supply of joy that emanates from Source itself that you have access to. So everything we think we want out here, that we try to get out here, actually doesn't live out here. We say this with all the love because it seems like it does. We're taught that it doesn't. This is the reflection. So the reflection will simply mirror back to you what's running in your energetic fields and your Body Deva's energetic fields. And if we're trying to process other people's stuff, it's going to show up in the reflection. The same way if you were standing in front of a mirror holding your dad's t-shirt, you would see it in the mirror. If you're holding your dad's bundle in your energetic fields, you're going to see it in the mirror. So it's honing our discernment. And if we're really after the joy, then let's go for the joy where it lives and release the attachment off of it existing in the resolution of some, like how something out here is going to work or not work. And let's and in this case, figuring out what this one wants and what this one wants and what this one wants and making it all work together and that's really complicated and distorted. So let's go for the pure, simple solution to have the joy that can then reflect, which is retrieving all our attachment and reference points for joy off of the outer. That's the first step. So inviting you at the level of your higher self, Body Deva's higher self and teams, to retrieve everywhere you're referencing joy in a future event, in an outer event, in a circumstance, in the resolution of a circumstance, wherever you're referencing joy externally, maybe it's in a past relationship or a past lifetime, retrieving all those reference points for joy off of everyone and everything in the outer world. Again, the higher self is going to do this. You're not doing it with the mind. Asking the higher self to do it for you. Retrieve all your reference points back to your beam of light for the joy. Inviting your Body Deva to do the same. Team sing. So everybody's doing this in unison. Reference the joy within the river of light, the beam of light that is you, that emanates from Source. Body Deva, you emanate from the heart of Gaia, and that beam of light is so lovely and it has so much joy there. Now you may not feel it yet, and that's okay. We're referencing it. It's almost like we're looking for it now where it actually lives. Energetically, we're now looking for it where it actually lives. Through our free will, conscious choice, and intention. And again, the invitation to the higher self to bring our tentacles that are looking for joy out here back to our beam. That's where it lives. I am one with an infinite source. The joy is already here within what I am. It's part of what I am. Then make the request to your higher self to amplify the joy in your river of light, in your beam of light. Higher self, turn up the volume of joy, please. It's a resonance, it's a vibration. Invite your Body Deva to do the same if it chooses. Team same. Invitation, not choosing for them, just saying, hey, you want to do this too? You want to do this with me? And then you amplify the joy. The higher self amplifies the joy. We're inviting it to stream all the way down through your beam of light, back up into the heart of Source. So it's like this loop of joy that is of your essence. It's pure. It works for you. It's more than enough. And you have an infinite supply of it. And then once that's complete, inviting a balancing and stabilizing of your energetic fields, updating all grids, all reference points, all ways in which you perceive and are perceived. Now, if this is something you're really working on, do it for the next 3 months. Every day, higher self, will you amplify more joy within my divine column? Body, team, same if you choose. Whatever the quality is, whether it's freedom, whether it's joy, whether it's empowerment, whether it's safety, support, love, we encourage you to pick one to start with and to work that one for 90 days. And then notice the difference in the reflection. Again, it'll be gradual over time. It'll increase, more, because you're doing it gradually. The reason we do gradual is very similar to when you're underwater at a lower, like under a lot of atmospheric pressure, and you're swimming to the surface of the water. You do it at a certain rate so you don't get the bends. This is very similar. When you're increasing your vibration, you want to do it incrementally and then acclimate to it, and then a little more, and then acclimate. That is the way to do it, where you're able to sustain the higher vibration and not go like all the way up and then back down, all the way up and then back down. You're going incrementally, slow and steady, a little bit more, little bit more, little bit more. And then eventually your new default is 10 or 20 or 50 octaves higher than where you were. And yes, it will show up in the reflection. That's the side effect. More joy in every aspect of your life, because you're not being specific about where the joy reflects. You just know it will. And so you begin to work in this empowered way with you as an infinite being, knowing who you are in truth, what the energetic configuration is. Oh, I'm a beam of light emanating from source, and I have infinite access within the layers, the dimensions of me, of all these divine qualities that are actually what I'm after. I'm not really after the outer experience. That will be the side effect. That allows you to take your attachment off of the outer and hold it on you, for you, as your beam of light. So you can use that attachment energy, that control energy, to activate more of what you desire to experience.
Awesome. So Angela, how are you doing? Just checking in really quickly. How are you doing? Let us know. But you know, it's something you can ask for every day, and just knowing you can ask for that every day and ask your higher self and your team to amp up, you know, magnify and amplify your level of joy, the quality of joy in your life. See how that feels.
Yeah. And then also, once you complete an energetic protocol, I always recommend, the guides show me over and over, update all grids, all reference points, all ways in which you perceive and are perceived. Make that request to your higher self to shake out, reboot your energetic fields so that you're current with who you are now.
Yeah, awesome. Good. Thank you. So there was another question in the chat from Renetta, and she said she's having more intensity in her heart area lately. She's wondering, is it energetic or is it physical? And what does that mean? And is it maybe even ancestral? I think she said.
What's her name?
Is Renetta.
Okay. So I'm being shown it has to do with a past life experience that's coming up to shift, to be forgiven, really. And I'm being shown females. So it may be a mother in this lifetime. This is symbolic of a relationship with a mother or sister or an aunt, like female bloodline. So just inviting her into the willingness to forgive and release whatever it symbolizes from all incarnations. And it's like the guides are saying, I choose my freedom instead. It's like, instead of holding the grudges or holding on to the hurt or the perceptions of loss or betrayal, heartbreak. And they're showing me it does relate to kind of this idea of being betrayed, being let down by the women. So this is for everyone, for all the times, all the incarnations, all the moments where you felt let down by the women in your life, your lineage, are you willing to forgive and release it all? Are you willing to forgive and release yourselves? And we're just inviting the appropriate end of life reviews in those incarnations with those souls, exchanging appropriate energetic information, doing the forgiveness work from the higher perspective, and returning any fragments that belong to them, retrieving any fragments that belong to you, activating all the vibrations of all the spiritual lessons in the appropriate order and the appropriate timing. And take a moment to just contemplate, where was I trying to get a need met through them? Was I making them responsible for my love, my nurturing, my sense of connection or belonging, my validation? Validation is kind of highlighting here in this case, in this example. So inviting you in the appropriate end of life reviews or in the now moment, whichever is more appropriate, to retrieve all your reference points for your validation, for your connection, for your belonging, for your love, acceptance, value, off of everyone and everything, bringing it back to your beam of light, accessing it at source level, you, body, and teams, and amplifying those qualities within your divine column of light to the degree that's appropriate for your current evolutionary state. Sourcing it within you, firing them from being responsible for giving it to you, recognizing they could never be enough anyway, because it's not the pure resonance that's calibrated for you at source level. So in a way, they were teachers. So again, moving into that complete forgiveness and release, activating all the vibrations of all those spiritual lessons, rippling and reflecting that into the present moment of now. Recalibrating the heart for a higher vibration into the current moment. The unity consciousness. Updating all grids, all reference points, all ways in which you perceive and are perceived.
Let us know, Renata, how that resonates with you. Let me know in the chat.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Yeah, good. Thank you. Joe's asking, I feel like I'm in the unknown and in transition right now due to my choices to leave my current work. Can Omaji assist me as I move forward?
So the first layer that comes forward for Joan has to do with
Joe.
Oh, was it Joe?
Yeah.
Comes forward for Joe. I'm sure you were Joan in another lifetime, Joe. Has to do with anywhere we've given the job, meaning it doesn't have, meaning, well, it's my source of support, or it's my source of safety, or it's my source of, like, is there anything that when you contemplate it, again, this is not judgment, it's just awareness. It's like, have I made the job the source of something? And so when we can identify what it is, it doesn't mean we have to take action right away in the outer world. I would actually invite you to work this piece in the inner world for a while, and then the outer world choices become much easier to make and more obvious and more clear. There's more clarity there. Is retrieve all your reference points off the job for it being the source for you of whatever that is, the safety, the support, the maybe freedom for some people, maybe worth for some people. And they're also showing me, like, especially during this time of great change, where we kind of have an idea of where we thought our life was gonna be, was gonna look like, it's like, I was planning to work this job till I retired or whatever it is. Because there's so much change happening right now, we're being invited to It's like almost retrieve our reference points for the future off of all those things. Because what if what's birthing now is going to be even better? Like, that's kind of the invitation we speak to quite often, which is, what if the change is actually an upgrade? Especially right now, because everything's moving into a higher frequency. It wants to. Everything is being called into a higher frequency, which means it's not that we have to quit the job first before we welcome the new job, but you can quit it energetically, sort of, where it's like, okay, you're not the source for me. Let me retrieve all my reference points off of you for being the source of my safety, my support, my freedom, my worth. Invite your body, David, to do the same. And then inviting you both, you and your body, David, the love of your higher self, to reference the safety, the support, the empowerment, everything that's in your divine column that you were thinking the job was giving you. It wasn't. It was a reflection of the safety, the support that you've cultivated over lifetimes. That's with you, that you get to take with you wherever you go. So reference it there. Invite your higher self to activate even more of it if you choose. And then invite your higher self to kind of cut any unhealthy cords to that job. And we would bring forward again the same kind of way of approaching this that we did earlier with, I think it was Angela, which is, what is it you're really after? Is it freedom? Is it support? Is it safety? Is it trust? Maybe it's trust. And so you can actually invite, because we're never being invited to trust the outer. We're being invited to trust the light that flows within us, to trust source, to be our source. That's all we're ever being asked to trust. That's the divine design. So can we remind you how to trust the light that flows within you, to be the source, to trust source, to be source, to bring all your reference points for trust and loyalty off of everything in the outer world, bring it back to your light, only attached to being loyal to your light, trusting your light. And then activating, inviting your higher self to activate more trust. Good. Balance and stabilize, update all grids, all reference points. And then whatever the other quality may be that we thought the job was a source of, you can invite that to also reference within your light, activate more of it at source level. And body David too.
Awesome. So Joe, let us know how that resonates. If good, he says thank you. Awesome. All right. So I know suddenly everybody's got their hand raised and putting in more questions in the chat, but before we take any more questions, if we have time even, I want to talk about the special offers that we have for everyone today. So they are available at alara.at/show/Omaji10. So I'm just going to put the link in the chat if I can. We will see in a second. So Omaji, you want to talk about package A and B, and then package C is A and B.
Yeah. So the package A is the Attune to 5D series, which is 3 90-minute sessions. And we do a lot in those 90-minute transmissions. In fact, if you're new to this, you might you might want to plan on, okay, this 90-minute transmission. And I keep wanting to say transition. So it's obviously going to transition some of you in a major way to the next level. But the 90-minute transmission, you can re-listen to as often as you want, and you get deeper every time. You get more pieces. It clicks in a little more. You hear it a little differently because you're different. Once you listen to it once and participate once, you're different. So then you go and you listen again, you're different. So they're saying 17 to 20 times you could listen to those recordings, and there's 3 of them, 3 90-minute recordings. It's the gift that keeps on giving to support you in working these different aspects. And there's so much more than what we could ever do in an hour here, of shifting your energetic wiring from 3D separation consciousness into the 5th dimensional, attuning to the 5th dimensional ways of being and unity consciousness. And we say this often, it's a process. It's a process for a reason. We've been living and functioning from separation consciousness for eons. And this step we're on in our evolutionary kind of leap that we're in the midst of is all about this changeover. And we have to be prepared to be able to do it in this way. So if this is resonating for you, recognize you've done all the prep work to be able to kind of stand in your and sit in your throne of choice and say, okay, I'm going to choose to do this with as much grace and ease as possible. I don't have to spend years going through the lessons and struggle in order to simply choose the beyond it. So these recordings help guide you, just like we did today. It's a little bit different, but similar, to choose beyond what you've been choosing in an unconscious way in the codependence and the separation, to claim your power back, to claim your energy back, to get your energy back, to retrieve your gifts, your wisdom, your mastery off of others that you've given away trying to help them. So that, guess what? You have it in your being, you have it woven around you, which then buffers you, and it then reflects in your experience of yourself. More empowerment, more joy, more freedom. All of your gifts, your wisdom, your mastery that you, it's like if you're really good at being a peacemaker, then you have mastery of peace. Keep that mastery of peace woven on you for you because it only works for you. And then you can demonstrate to others how to have it for themselves. So that's the premise. And again, 3 90-minute sessions that all work it from different angles, different pieces, different layers. And then there's also a bonus, I think it's about an hour. Can you remind me the name of that? The hour recording that is kind of the introduction, or maybe that's, they're reminding me.
Oh yeah, no, there's a bonus transmission of Bridge into 5D daily support.
Yeah, they're reminding me. No, that's the shorter one. So yeah, it's a 15-minute meant to be used daily to help put us in this remembering. And then the other one I actually just shared to my social media because there's an introduction to the Attune to 5D that I did on YouTube. And I shared the link to it on my social media so that I would have it out there for anyone that was like, well, let me just see what this is. Let me just do the introduction. It's like, I think about an hour kind of introducing you to what it is. So if you want to look at that, it's on my Facebook. For Omaji Andaria, the Omaji Andaria page. And so, and I can share it when you share this video, I'll put it in the comments.
Okay, awesome.
And then there's a voucher for a discount for our live session that we do usually once a month, but sometimes it's every other month. And it's called the Embody Divine Light Transmission. It's a live 75-minute transmission with me and the Council of Light. And I just bring in the downloads, and it's interesting. It's unique every time, and it's unique every time because different people attend, and it's a collaboration. So your higher selves are literally right now in another dimension with the Council of Light, calling forth what's being called forth for the highest good of all in this session. The same thing happens in any live session I do, and the 75-minute transmissions are the same. So we do, it's not a Q&A, but it's a transmission of light where we'll bring in the pieces that can support everyone in the most harmonious way through, the gateway, the portal. In this case, the next one we're doing is on 10/10, which is this Sunday. And then we'll be doing another one on 11/11 for sure. So if you choose to register for that, you get a discounted rate. I think it's 25% off.
Yep. So that is package A, and then package B is the navigating the current of change in an empowered way, which has 2 items. Again, it's 6 transmissions of light plus the emotional processing recordings. So you want to talk a little bit about that as well?
Yeah. So the navigating the current of change, that was shared basically in a 6-week time frame during last summer. So during kind of the height of all this kind of, we'll say, turbulence that's happening in the collective, that was happening in the collective at the time. And we are on the precipice of another kind of period of turbulence that we're going to be going through as a collective, as a humanity in the outer world. And that's not to be seen through the lens of fear. We would encourage you to kind of step into your knowing and recognize that for us to move into the sovereignty and the freedom as a humanity, the systems in the outer world have to transform to meet us in that sovereignty, to meet us at the higher octave of fifth dimensional consciousness, where the highest good of all is actually the energies that are woven through those systems for healthcare, for government, for schools, for the legal systems, like all the systems, all the major systems, the economical systems, all the systems are about to begin to reform, rebirth. And so if we are not knowing that's what's happening, if you're not knowing and seeing it through the lens of, okay, it's an upgrade happening, then there's a tendency to want to go into fear and all these other experiences. And even if we do know, we can get caught up in the outer and what's happening and go into the fear. So this Navigating the Current of Change series was offered to specifically, and again, it's a gift that keeps on giving. You can listen to it so many times and get different things from it. To help give you that baseline fundamental tools and energetic protocols. It's like energetic downloads, reminders, how to hold your energy in the knowing of who you are in truth. It's like a stabilizing force. And the more you hold yourself, again, it's a choice. And these tools help, these recordings help you do this. So it's like energetic support for this. Holding yourself in your being, in the knowing of who you are in truth, that reflects in your experience. So it calls forth more grace and ease. It calls forth everything working out for you, even if other people are having a really hard time and struggling. The struggle, they're saying very gently, and this is from a mastery. It's like the ascended masters basically are coming forward to say this. The struggle is a choice. We say that with all the love. And so recognize that we do have a choice to navigate this corridor, to navigate the current with less turbulence or no turbulence, based on our free will conscious choice of aligning with and deciding, choosing to work with our higher selves, our guides, our advisors, to vibrate in the truth of our being, instead of defining ourselves and what's possible based on the outer appearances, because the outer appearances have never defined you. And they're showing me this identification piece is a baseline of what we look at in this series, the Navigating the Current. They're showing there's so many nuggets here for so many of you that are really working on retiring any remnants of victim consciousness. We work the pieces where it's not just about working with your consciousness. It's about working with, okay, what am I holding on to that isn't even mine? That's a big percentage of what we work on in all of these sessions, the package A as well. Letting go of the stuff we're processing, and it came in layers, so it's going to leave in layers that is not of our essence, so that we can get even cleaner, even clearer, even more in resonance with our divine essence in its purest form, in its untainted, undistorted state. So that's the Navigating the Current of Change series. And there was two other with that, right? So then there are two supports there that help whenever we're triggered. So they're shorter recordings. I think one's probably 15 minutes, one's about 20. They're meant to be used again as a daily or as a okay, one-off. This is what I need right now. I'm really triggered by this. It helps to diffuse the trigger. It helps hold a safe space energetically for you to feel what you're feeling, because that's a part of the integration process. Again, the body Deva will use these waves of emotion to recalibrate its own cellular chemistry for the higher vibration. So you want to allow the emotions, not repress them, in a healthy way, right? Hold a safe space while you're anchored in who you are in truth. So you're not identifying as a victim. You're identifying as, I am the one seeing this, witnessing this, and I know who I am in truth. This has nothing to do with who I am in truth, but I can hold a safe space for it to express. And so these recordings help cultivate that energetic stance, which is learned, and it's, again, cultivated. It takes practice. But the tools, these two recordings, will help with any emotional processing, anytime you're triggered by something or you're just feeling off. That's also I think sometimes people think it has to be an intense emotion to use these tools. It can be just like an apathy or a boredom, because that's, it's a layer. That's a layer 2. Or feeling disconnected. That's a layer 2. So even if it's a dull kind of, I don't feel, I feel off. I don't feel like what I am. These tools work for that as well.
Awesome. So package B is available for $144, and then package C is package A plus package B, both packages, for $222. And for the first 24 hours, you get my special gift to you, the discount code of 10%. So use code TACS10 to get 10% off of the purchase. And again, that's only for 24 hours. So please do take advantage of that if you would like. So again, package A is $99, package B is $144, and package C, which is both A and B, is $222. And of course, there are 2 and 3 payment plans available as well for your convenience. So see which one resonates with you. And again, one of the things Omaji said was that some of these recordings you can listen to over and over again, and they're different each time. You're going to receive different information, not just information, but different energetics are going to come through for you each time you listen to it.
Yeah,
right?
It's because they're layered. They're multidimensional. They're not linear. Everything we share is that way. So you could even use this replay as a way to practice this for yourself. And if you go back and listen to this replay, you'll see you'll kind of get a taste of what we mean. But I do want to share that we do a lot in this hour and a half with you, Alara, but in these transmissions, there's so much there. Like we don't stop, we keep going. And the layers keep coming. And I keep talking because it's not an interactive Q&A like this. At least most of it isn't. It's me just sharing what's coming through in the guides and the council of letters showing me the next layer, the next layer, the next layer. It's working with you and your body, Deva.
Awesome. So there's a lot there, because I don't know about you guys, but I've been processing throughout this whole call. I've been yawning. I've been like, oh my God, I can barely see. My throat is like, I can barely talk, and my ears are like, okay, lots is happening. And behind my eyes, I can feel a lot of stuff going on. I don't know.
Yeah. And you don't have to, if you start to feel like this is too intense for me and you get into the first 20 minutes, you can stop and then you can pick it up the next day. You don't have to listen to the whole thing at once. Yeah. One of the things we will say is that it's like, as you go to the gym, your muscles get stronger. Same thing's true as you do our work more in this way. And other practitioners do this type of work where you're doing the work with your own energetic fields. Your energetic fields will start to get stronger and stronger and stronger and start to remember really how to shift and change and do this in their own unique way. So it does get easier the more you do it.
Absolutely.
It's not as intense, we'll say. It's not as intense the more you do it.
So again, these 3 packages are available at alara.at/show/Omaji10. So please do take a look at them, see which one resonates with you, see which one you'd like to work with, and start at your own pace, and take as long as you need to, like you don't have to go through the whole thing at once. Like Omaji just said, if you can handle 20 minutes, do 20 minutes and then do the next, a little bit later in the day or the next day. So there's no rush. Like, there's no rush with anything, it's about going with what feels right to you.
It is. It's not a race. And we know sometimes we feel like, oh, I just want to have it. And I can attest to this because I've been there. It's part of what drove me to accessing the Council of Light and now doing the work that I do, because I wanted the shortcuts. I wanted the most efficient way. And I can share from my own perspective in doing this work for over 15 years. This is the most efficient way I found to shift, to create massive shifts in how you experience yourself in the shortest amount of time.
Wow. Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Omaji, I'm not sure what your schedule is next. Do you have time to take 1 or 2 more quick questions?
I do. And I wanted to just share something real quick. When we spoke about kind of this idea, and it was really when you were talking about what was coming up to leave, right? Like, oh, I can feel this shifting. It's coming up to leave. It's coming up to transform. It's coming up to release or transform or shift into a higher octave. That's exactly what's happening for humanity right now. And so if we can hold that knowing, that perception, that whatever's coming up for humanity and the systems that are the corruption, whatever's going to be exposed, it's because it's coming up to leave. And just let that in.
Mhm.
And so it's not something that we have to really do anything with or be an adversary around. It's like, oh, it's coming up to leave. I can just hold a safe space for humanity to go through this while this transforms.
Yeah.
It's coming up to leave. They're saying everything you're going to witness over the next, everything you have been witnessing over the last year and a half, and the next year and a half, it's coming up to leave. It's coming up to transform into a higher expression.
Awesome.
So if you know that, you might write that down somewhere.
Yeah.
It helps you have that perception of, oh, this is what's leaving. This is what's leaving the planet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. Thank you.
Mhm.
It's a powerful and at the same time uplifting message for all of us, not so that we don't get caught up in all of the stuff that's going on right now.
Yeah, and it's okay to use, like if we're triggered by something, use that to liberate yourself from what's running in your energetic fields that isn't an empowering vibration. That's how I use it.
Yep, absolutely. Good. Thank you. Okay, so we'll just take one or two more quick questions. Agnieszka, I always say your name wrong. I'm sorry. You want to unmute yourself? Can you unmute yourself? There you
Yes,
go.
yes. Hi, Alara. Hi, Omaji.
Oh,
I am happy to be present on this live call. I would like to ask you to help me with empowering myself to receive, earn, make, and keep money. I feel that from both parts of my parents, from my father's side, my great grandfather had a huge problem with money, and from this side I feel the energy enables me to keep money or to make them. And from my mother's side, my grandma, she felt hopeless all her life, and it was like women are not able to stand for themselves, to earn money, to be happy. So it's really crushing me, and can you help me to move out? Because I would love to move out from those energies, please.
yeah, and you've prepared for it. You're ready for it.
Yes.
Yeah. And so what if it's actually time for you to welcome who you really are?
That would be great. Great.
And we're going to say this to your body, Deva, as well. Body Deva, what if it's time for you to remember your natural state? And so deep breath in. We're going to bring in the energetic downloads for everyone here in your own unique way, whatever will support you in this process of shedding any of the bundles or conditioning of the ancestors.
Yes, please.
And retiring any of the mechanisms for connection where we're kind of trying to experience connection by holding bundles from the ancestors. And this is different. They're showing me a lot of layers to this for different people on the call. It's like, it can be because it was taught in the culture that the ancestors were to be revered and almost like exalted. So we're just going to kind of summarize for everyone in this kind of intention. You can invite your higher self to begin to show you kind of where you're tethered into the need to try to process their bundles for them, to hold their bundles for them. But you don't actually have to know from this level. The learning can take place in a higher dimension. You can activate the vibrations of the lessons there, reflect it to yourself here. So it's this willingness to kind of lean into this pillar of light that is you, recognizing you're a multidimensional being. And it almost like a skyscraper has different floors. Your consciousness has different floors of expression, 50, maybe 52. And so you can lean into these other aspects of you that have a higher perspective to do the work on your behalf. And you can make the request here and say, higher self, aspects of me in a higher dimension, can you work together to gather up all the bundles, especially around money, resources that aren't mine? Body David, you can do this too.
Yes, please.
And return them. Love and consciousness, appropriate energetic information, all the responsibility for it. Release all the grids gently up and out of our energetic fields that were never ours. We were trying to shift grids for the ancestors or shift consciousness for the ancestors, and they have to do it for themselves when they're ready. We can't do it for them. So returning all that responsibility back to them, turning all their bundles. I'm hearing money is the root of all evil, all the belief systems around money, the ways of being. Just simply be willing to give it back. If this isn't in alignment with my divine essence and the truth of who I am, I release it. I rescind it. Good. So we're just watching this work. And while this release is happening, we're going to invite simultaneously an energetic aspect of you in a higher dimension to work with the energetic fields and the guides to locate energetically the appropriate end of life reviews where you can activate the vibrations of the spiritual lessons in the appropriate order and the appropriate timing that this symbolizes. And deep breath in. We invite you at the level of your higher self, Body Davis higher self and teams, to work with the energetic fields and the guides, to energetically locate any of your resources that you tried to give to anyone else, thinking it would be helpful, including the ancestors, your gifts, your wisdom, your mastery, your abundance, your resources, your literal resources, energetic resources. Energetic resources will reflect, if we're holding them on ourselves, as the money, as the sustenance. Inviting you at the level of your higher self, Body Davis higher self and teams, to work with the energetic fields and the guides to retrieve all your energetic resources that you gave away or were taken, but we had to kind of give our permission for them to be taken on some level. So retrieving all those resources in all time frames and dimensions, all lifetimes, cleaning them, recalibrating them for your current level of consciousness and reweaving them in your energetic fields, holding them on you for you. You spent lifetimes cultivating these resources and they only work for you. Any belief systems or ideologies where it's not virtuous for you to hold your resources on you, are you willing to release and uncreate that? Any beliefs or ideologies where it's not virtuous for you to have, for you to be abundant, are you willing to release and uncreate that?
Yes.
So inviting your higher self to reinterpret in an appropriate way any oaths, vows, commitments, or agreements that you made in any lifetime or agreed to in any lifetime that are incompatible with you having your resources, using them on you for you. Are you willing?
Yes, please.
Deep breath in. Anything you're trying to process for humanity around this, will you send it back? Any grids of lack or limitation? Inviting your body, David, to do the same, unplugging from the discordant grids of humanity into the fifth dimensional unity, consciousness, thriving, abundance, one with source grids that are available. Bring in your own unique grids to replace any grids that you returned that are woven with your own energetic fabric. You already wove these for yourself in a higher dimension. Function from the truth of your abundance, truth of your freedom, truth of your empowerment, the truth of your divine expression. And are you willing to remember how to function as that?
Yes. I'm willing to remember that.
Good. Deep breath in. You might feel some heat happening. Just watching this recalibration, this kind of shifting, this alchemy. For you, your body deva, and teams. And deep breath in. We invite a balancing and stabilizing of your energetic fields, updating all grids, all reference points, all ways in which you perceive and are perceived.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Good, good, good.
Thank you and bless you.
That was
Yeah, it does-
intense, right?
Yeah, and it does feel like everyone is getting pretty energetically full.
Yeah.
I think some people might be sleeping, which is fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a lot, especially, again, it's our first trip to the gym in a while for many of
Yeah.
us. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, exactly. And I would highly recommend people go back and watch and listen to this again, because there was so much that came through, and so much was shifting, and so much was just we're still processing, because like I can't talk still.
Yeah.
So we know we're still processing, right?
Yeah, and it's integrating as well. So we always invite everyone. It's like help the body devas integrate by drinking plenty of water, maybe taking a salt bath or a salt shower. I just will sprinkle salt in the bottom of the shower. All of those things can help support the body. Spend some time in nature, and get grounded. It's like during this time, if there's one thing that you do, ground. And so we'll do a process here for that, because some of you as souls may ground in your own unique way. And it's maybe for some of you never really resonated to ground the way where some spiritual teachers say to ground. And that's me. I ground in a different way. And so we're just going to walk you through that energetic process, because as we navigate this terrain, the more grounded we are, the deeper our roots, the higher we can go. And the easier it is to stay in those higher octaves. So just inviting now you at the level of your higher self, body devas, higher self, and teams to work with the energetic fields and the guides, to bring all of your energy and awareness off of everyone and everything in the outer world, out of the past, out of the future, into the present moment, into your column of light for you, body for itself. Remembering that you as a soul emanate from the heart of source, same way the ray of light emanates from the sun. And the body deva emanates from the heart of Gaia, which actually resides in the heart of source. It's like a fractal. So body deva, orient appropriately to your beam of light, bringing all of your energy and awareness back into your being, referencing your point of origin in the heart of Gaia, your divine spark. And then we're going to invite the body deva to ground in its own unique way into the heart of Gaia. Maybe it's a tree and it crafts these really deep roots. Again, this is body deva. Body deva at the level of your higher self. Work with the energetic fields and the guides to ground, to create deeper roots, more intricate roots, wider roots, reflecting the qualities of your divine line of balance, stability, strength, courage, safety, empowerment onto your roots. Your essence, craft them with your essence. So we're just going to invite the body deva to take a moment to notice, am I using my own root systems, my own grounding mechanisms, or am I trying to use the grounding mechanisms of the ancestors or someone else that doesn't really work for me? Body deva, bring in your own unique grounding mechanisms of your essence that work for you. There you go. Use that to ground you in your own unique way, in an appropriate way. And during Mercury's in retrograde, things slow down. So it's a wonderful time to strengthen your roots, to go wider, to go deeper, to get more intricate with your roots, get really stabilized. Good. And then when it feels complete, inviting Body Deva to also increase its magnetics in relationship to the electrical. So this is like an hourglass energy that I'm shown, where the electrical energy is coming in from above, and then the magnetics help to balance it. And that's the lower part of that hourglass from about the waist down. So Body Deva, increase your magnetics in proportion to the electrical. And then balance the electrical and magnetic energy in all systems, components, and levels of your being. You might want to go a little bit more on the electrical or the magnetics, because the electrical is going to come in, then you're ready for it. Get really stable, really grounded. Good. Balancing the electrical magnetic energy in all systems, components, and levels. And then recalibrating the microbes in the cranial sacral fluid for the appropriate vibration for your current level of consciousness. Adjusting the perception mechanisms of those microbes to kind of see from the higher perspective and to welcome the new versus cling to the old. Keep your eye on what's coming in. Yeah, so lovely. It's a whole different world. I know. Deep breath in. Deep breath in. Good. Balance and stabilize, update all grids, all reference points, Body Deva. So now you as a soul, you're riding in the body. Your beam of light firmly attaches to the front of the body's spine. The body's beam of light runs through the spine. So it's like tandem. Your beam of light is adjacent to the body's beam of light. So you want to invite your higher self to firmly attach your beam of light to the front of the body spine so that you're locked in the saddle and you're not sort of hovering over it. The Body Deva will feel much more safe and supported if you're in the saddle, which then means it will reflect as more safety and support for you in this experience, which is lovely. And then inviting you at the level of your higher self. So you want to really lean into your higher self, your multidimensional self, and let this other energetic aspect of you do this work. Inviting your higher self to energetically locate a dimension in the world you're from as a soul, your origination kind of world, that is much cleaner than maybe third dimensional Gaia that we've kind of been rolling around in. When you locate this energy of the world you're from, this dimension of the world you're from, inviting you in this other dimension to deeply ground yourself in the world you're from. Get really grounded there, grounded into the harmonic energies of that world. And then a part of you gets to be home while you're here. And you want to ground about 10,000, 15,000 times more than you'd ever really need to ground there, because you're going to account for the dilution factor in the reflection here. So ground even more. Good. Then balance and stabilize, update all grids, all reference points, ripple and reflect it to yourself here. Then you positively, empathically impact the Body Deva to stay grounded, and you're more grounded. It's like this energy of grounding. It's this resonance of I'm grounded, I'm stable, I'm supported, I'm safe, which then reflects as more of the same. Such an honor to support you in this way. And the Council of Light is stepping forward, just acknowledging your courage, your wisdom, and really acknowledging it's like if you're here listening to this, you're ready for the leap. It's like most people are not calibrated to a degree where they could even be in this energetic environment that we're in for these sessions. So take a moment to acknowledge how far you've come to acknowledge that you are in a higher level of evolution than most of humanity is. And that's not arrogance, that's awareness. Because if you know, I'm a little bit further on the mountain, therefore I'm probably a guide and a teacher. Therefore, I probably have energetic information for most of the people I interact with. It's easier to know how to hold your energy in their presence so that you're not taking responsibility for them and you're just simply inviting your higher self to share all the information you have for them, so that you stay energetically clean and clear in your own vibration, in your own sovereignty, and you get to be the example, the way shower that you came here to be. So much love to everyone. Thank you so much.
That was beautiful. Oh my goodness, so powerful. I'm still processing a lot. So thank you. And thank you everybody for all your questions. I know we didn't get to everybody's questions, but we experienced a lot today. So like, and this grounding at the very end, this was brilliant, just totally brilliant. So please, again, go back and watch or listen to this again. If you'd like to work with Omaji more deeply, take a look at the packages that are available at alara.at/show/Omaji10. Take advantage of the 10% discount for the next 24 hours, TACS10. And wow, get some rest today, drink some water, ground some more if you need to, but definitely drink some water, get out in nature if you can. Even if it's just opening the windows and getting some fresh air, that will help too, okay? Awesome, thank you so much, Omaji, that was brilliant. Wow, I'm hot now. My temperature during this call has been really wonky. I was cold, I was so cold, it's like, oh my God, and then I'm like hot, and I'm like, you name it, I experienced everything. So thank you, right? Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being willing to be here, being willing to let go and release, being willing to choose something different for yourself. So thank you. Renata says, I feel the energy flowing through my body. Yeah, absolutely. Woo, wow. So thank you.
Yes, and thank you. And so much love to everyone. And just sending our blessings and support for, it's like holding the energy of support, knowing that you've got this, no matter what happens, you got this, and just stand in that empowerment of who you are in truth.
Absolutely. You've got this. We've all got this. Right. So yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. All right, everyone. So until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Bye for now.